doing something he was not supposed to do, not terribly surprising. If they decided to punish him for that, I could understand it. If they didn't, I could also understand it. But that, I saw that one and I was just like, dog, what are you doing? Like, what do you think that you are going to accomplish positive with this one? It ain't, no, this isn't the NWA movie, right? You can get along with get away with maybe doing that song in 1989. You can't put that picture on Instagram in 2016.
The National Football League is like every other major sport in America and around the world. They will publicly and with a smile tell you how much they care about their fans. To a degree, it has to be true. After all, fans are where the money comes from in the form of ticket purchases, merchandise sales, eyeballs on sponsors, adulation, fanaticism, and so many other elements that drive the various machines to profit. But the NFL has been hit harder than some sports, caught by many showing a callousness toward their fans that borders on a message of, you can't give us up no matter how hard you try, so we don't really need to kiss up to your needs and desires. Just ask fans in cities where teams have been moved out overnight, and molasses-like slow reactions to various transgressions of players, including domestic abuse, drug abuse, animal abuse. Today, the NFL has another quandary that would seem to be an easy one to solve. One of their players spitting out a social media post which glorifies the throat-cutting execution of a police officer, something you would think should demand immediate dismissal, but that would be in the real world. This world includes your phone calls and comments. As much as we're about to discuss here is more than about sports. Dial us up at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. Begin there. Welcome back to veteran attorney and the man who created the concept of commenting on and making sense of sports, the law, and business. From San Diego on the side of Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, which means there could be trouble in the gas lamp district tonight, the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Good to see you again, my friend.
Hey, so they're taking batting practice right out there. I know we have serious subjects to deal with, but if I could only hit a curveball, I'd be in that cage and you could go find another guest.
I thought you, I think I saw you try to hit a curveball one day and it was
Doesn't work.
Awful.
No.
Let's get to the serious stuff here because this is really something that's terrible. Cleveland Browns running back Isaiah Crowell last week posted on Instagram an image of a police officer getting his throat slit. And this was after the killings of the two individuals and then before the Dallas police shooting. The Browns have issued a statement on Crowell today saying, basically, we've spoken to him. It was completely inappropriate. We've made him aware of our disappointment. He's apologized, but it is insufficient, and he must take steps to make a positive difference. Rick, according to the moral clause in the standard player contract of the NFL, this is something that the Browns should be able to have a hearing on and bust him out of the league without any question whatsoever. Do you agree?
Well, so here's the issue, and listen, I don't condone it at all, and you know I don't. We've had conversations about this, and this is very serious. On the other hand, there are labor laws, there's the negotiation. Even if you say something appropriate, there are First Amendment issues, and I'm not saying this should fall under it or not. I'm just suggesting to you that the league has disciplinary procedures. The team also has the right to deal with it, but these are all bargained for, and now we'll see what Roger Goodell does about these kinds of posts, because I've got to tell you, it's going to happen more and more and more, not because players are getting worse and immoral, just because with social media, you know, everybody does things first and thinks about it later.
Well,
so
I mean, that's
ways,
just it right there, Rick.
Case.
I mean, that's right there. First of all, the stupidity of this is something that we have to come to grips with. It's what we have here in this society right now. But in the paragraph 15 integrity of the game portion of the player contract, it talks about integrity and good character of NFL players. In light of what the NFL has been through in the last couple of years here, doesn't it say that when you're talking about integrity and good character, this is a prime example of everything that's wrong with it and the kind of people you don't want in your organization?
Yeah, and I don't want to go over lawyer on you. You know I really don't. But
I know you don't.
15 is exactly the clause that's been interpreted. It's the suspensions of all of the actions based on certain kind of conduct, the Ray Rice incident, the Hardy incident. All of those now have definite procedures, and everybody called for procedures so everybody understood what this kind of thing meant on domestic abuse, on inappropriate statements, on illegal statements, on hateful statements, on incendiary statements, and on stupid statements. Now, I'm not saying this guy shouldn't pay, and I don't think he'll ever get an endorsement ever. And if he's not very good, he's not going to play for the Browns, too. I mean, that's exactly what it is. If he's going to play well, maybe they'll give him a second chance. If he doesn't, they're not going to give him a second chance.
Personally,
so all
and again,
I'm suggesting to you, it's not that easy.
I know it's all legal. I wouldn't give this guy 1.1 chance at this point. He's out. Real quick, a couple of opinions here. David's in Meridian, Idaho. David, you think that Isaiah Crowell is wrong, and we got to stand with police officers. But what do you think about the fact that he hasn't been busted yet? Do you think that the NFL needs to get rid of this guy flat out? No chance. Boom, you're out.
Absolutely.
But what about his legal rights to be able to say whatever he wants to say?
Well, I can't imagine legal rights in this country that allow somebody to do what he did. There should be no protection whatsoever for that kind of behavior. It fosters other people to do similar things. Some of them are going to do it.
It does. I'll tell you what, it does foster hate. That's all part of the problem here. William is in Mount Vernon, Washington. William, same question. You think the Browns should cut Isaiah Crowell, but wait a minute, he has rights.
Yes, he does, but he's also held at a higher standard being a professional sports player. And he should be canned, period. If he made that comment as a racist comment, similar to that, there would be no question that he would be fired.
Well, I think that's all a part of it, what was meant behind it. You're right, and quite frankly, I have to agree with you. All right, Rick, I only got 2 minutes left. I have to get to something else here that is all happening here in the last 24 hours. There were 4 off-duty Minnesota cops working a Minnesota Lynx WNBA game at the Target Center. The players came out. They had pictures of the 2 individuals who were shot in the last week on the front. On the back, they have Black Lives Matter. The cop said, that's it, we're out, we walk. And the cops did just that. And a matter of fact, a lot of people say it was good for them. Not whether the cops were right or wrong here, but Rick, isn't there always that danger? This is a professional sports franchise, and you're getting involved in politics and letting your players do it as a whole. Isn't that something that you don't want to do?
Another issue we've got to deal with, laws of employment. Now, when you sign up to be an employee in a certain case, you park your political views at home. If it impacts the role model feature of this, but also the ability of that brand to do business, it's similar to somebody at work doing something that detracts from that ability of a player. They would say, we're doing it in pregame warm-up, it's not going to affect us, but it really did, because it impacted the way people viewed that team and all. So there are other complicating issues there as well, and I understand that the league and the WNBA should be very careful about drawing a line. Again, First Amendment rights are there, but there are a lot of circumstances where the First Amendment is modified by where you are, what you're doing, and how you're doing it.
Fair to say, though, 30 seconds left here, that if you're an individual and you want to take a political stand, then the team or the company can't do anything to you, no matter what it is. But if you do it on the company time, in a company place of business where they're trying to make money, that's something that has crossed a line, yes?
Yeah, that's a pretty fair statement. You should have gone to law school.
Believe me, I went to law school. All I did was I sat and I talked to you about little law things going on here and there. Then, after you basically gave me all these suggestions over the years and told me what your legal opinion was, I went out, I found out what the truth was, and then I got it all right, and then I could have still been a lawyer.
Hey, they're both the same thing.
Who wins the All-Star game?
I think the National League, they're starting all Cubs in the infield, and it's an amazing day here because watching those guys hit, and the home run derby last night, 61 home runs by Giancarlo Stanton last night, the most ever. So it is an exciting weekend, to be sure.
Now, if he could only hit them all on the field, the Marlins fans would be happy. Rick Horrow, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the All-Star game, all right?
See you next week.
And we will be back here tomorrow to talk a little bit more about this, because what happened today in Texas, the president's comments, and much more we're going to be talking about for days to come. Rock on, true believers. Thanks for joining us. Good night and good luck.